from Fred Phelps to the Kinsey Six. The best of the best from Central Kansas and beyond. We do it all. We are KJAG Radio and the Jiggy Jaguar Radio Show. Log on to JiggyJaguar.com and KJAGRadio.com for more.
Between his and Mrs. Beaker's shoes. The overcast sky, which drizzled off and on, turned the spring day unseasonably cool. Mrs. Beaker covered the girl's lap with a dark Russian shawl. The horse and buggy moved rapidly out of town, over a bridge and up a gently sloped hill that seemed endless. As the buggy crested the hill, Teresa saw the western Kansas prairie over the horse's head. Her stomach dipped as though she were a bird fly. The prairie loomed much larger than it had through the train window, as large and flat as a fallen sky.
Back here on KJAGRadio.com, I'm Jiggy Jag. We're out here at the Hutchinson Public Library. And great presentation tonight, The Mail Order Kid. She is here. I'm going to get the heck out of the way and let her talk to us about the book. Tell us a little bit about The Mail Order Kid. You gave a great little presentation tonight. Learned a heck of a lot. Tell us a little bit about the book. How did you come to write it?
Well, I came to write the book just sort of by accident. I've been giving speeches about the orphan trains, and Teresa Martin, who is the subject of this book, she wrote to me and said, "How can you be talking about the orphan trains when you haven't heard my story?" And I thought, well, I'll go see what she has to say. It turned out she's a librarian. She has lots of materials that she had gathered, dated, and everything about herself and about the orphan trains. And so I volunteered to help her write her story, but after a while, I just started writing it instead.
Now, this book has a ton of great pictures in it. Where did you get these pictures from? Was it just catalog with the different the librarian, and then with some other people that you talked to, or how did you come across some of these great shots?
Most of the shots were from Teresa's collection. Yeah. And then other shots like the plane shot. I mean the train shot. I purchased it, and I did purchase some others too. I wrote to the Children's Aid Society, and I wrote to the Family Society for pictures. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how much time, as far as research, did it take before you could start writing the book? Because the book seems to be, from your presentation, very well researched.
Well, that's true. I interviewed Teresa about her life, and we worked on a very part-time basis. We'd get together Sunday afternoons and work on it. And we also, both of us are research librarians in a way. I mean, we both love it. And so we would go to the Ellis County Society archives and do research together there. But we researched and wrote, and we wrote, and finally we had a manuscript, and the manuscript was 600 pages long. And I said to Teresa, not even your family's going to read this. So a large part of the writing of the book had to do with cutting and trimming and deciding what to keep and what to throw out.
Now, there's a ton of research in this. You like you mentioned, you went through and did a ton of different things. How has the reception been to the book from different people? Have any positive reviews anywhere? And people apparently just love the book, because this place was pretty much sold out tonight. Yes. As far as seating.
Yes, that's true. It's been very well received. Kindle and Amazon in the adoption sections of their outfits.
Yeah.
I'm a bestseller there.
Yeah.
And I've gotten excellent reviews, some of them from people with great authority about the orphan trains, who wrote eloquently. I mean, I get, a page and a half.
Yeah.
And I've been very happy with the reception the book has received.
Is there any type of follow-up or anything?
I'm not planning to write another orphan train book. No, I'm working on other things, but I've always been like that. I always do this and do that and do the other thing.
Yeah. Now, teaching creative writing and being involved in the writing process, what do you think of things like Kindles and all these things where people are getting away from the actual book and they're reading it on like a tablet? I'm not a big fan, but I've got a chance to ask a lot of authors this question. So.
Well, what I said to myself, if I make enough money on this book tour, I'm going to buy myself a Kindle.
Read your own book on a Kindle.
Now, researching and putting this book together, as you mentioned earlier, it was like on a part-time basis and things. Did you, when you write books, do you do one book and then move on to the next one, or do you have multiple books you're working on at different times? Or
Typically, I have multiple books because I find that you write to a certain degree. Maybe you have a full draft of one book, but you can't get any distance from it because you've just written it. So then I just put it on the back shelf and pull out one that I have some distance on it and go to revising.
That's cool.
It works well for me.
Now, when you go out and is this been your first presentation on the book, or have you done multiple presentations?
I'm on a book tour, and this is like number 5 stop, I think.
Oh, okay. How has the crowds been?
This has been a marvelous crowd here.
Yeah.
Really, a large crowd, an attentive crowd, a curious crowd. It's been just ideal.
Yeah.
And I've had smaller crowds other places, but people are interested in the book, and they're interested in hearing about the orphan trains.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you doing this.
Sure.
Thanks for writing a great book, and thanks for giving a great presentation. That was fun. I appreciate it.
Good.
Thank you much. And thanks for watching KJ.
So then we have into the mix a idealistic young man who had come to New York City to learn to become a minister, Charles Loring Brace. This picture that I have of him is how he looked, more or less, at the time he founded the orphan trains. The picture is in 1853, and the trains were founded in 1854. Now, he was just appalled at the children on the street, and he decided not to go into the ministry, but to do something to help these children out. And he did a lot of different things. He put up a kind of a hotel for the newsboys. He put